It's a really odd equation, the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion equation. It's odd.
It's like add 30, divide by 16, add
drink
40.
Drink 2 beers, take Tuesday off. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's back. Give it to the quarterback. No, we got the running back. What?
Straight off the couch.
Here are the stories we're going to be chasing today.
Before we get too far along here, let me bring our broadcast partner, the ever affable, effervescent, and he puts the in Canada. It's Adam Weidel. Adam, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm better now that I'm with you, bud. How was your week?
It was a week. For the boys and girls listening out there, we're going to move from our regular shows to covering the playoff picture because there's only 3 weeks left in the season, and this is when things are going to get really interesting. There's no need for you to hear about, I don't know, the Carolina Panthers, for example. So we're not going to bore you with that.
We could hear about them a little bit if there's somebody that they're playing against and I guess they beat them.
Right. But
yeah.
Right as of right now, the team's officially out of the playoff hunt. There's more on the AFC side than the NFC, but officially out of the AFC side, it's the Jets at 4-10, the Browns at 3-11, the Jaguars at 3-11, the Titans at 3-11, the Patriots at 3-11. A whole lot of 3-11.
Aww.
Whole lot of 3-11 over there in the FC, and of course the bottom-dwelling Las Vegas Raiders at 2-12. Now on the NFC side, things get a little fuzzier. It's the Bears at 4-10; they're right out, and honestly, they've been right out since losing to Washington. The Carolina Panthers at 3-11, and the bottom-feeding New York Giants. Right now, I think if the draft were to be held today, the Giants will get the first pick, and the Vegas Raiders the second pick because of some weird strength of schedule thing.
Yes, and I believe there was some hijinks between them in the offseason where they've agreed to certain terms, and I don't know how all this shit works. I'm not in the front office, so I don't know, but they do make deals.
Yeah, they do. And so the games with playoff implications this weekend, Saturday at noon, Kansas City plays the Texans. If the Chiefs win and the Bills lose, they lock up the number 1 seed. So that's going to have some playoff implications. Adam, how do you see that one going down?
So it looks like right now we're way ahead of ourselves. We're looking at next week already. We haven't even talked about what just happened in the last week.
I'm okay not talking about other than the Steelers.
There's a couple of games I think we need to talk about, but yeah. So it looks like old Patty Mahomey hurt his ankle again, and he's like the Undertaker. He just pops back up off the turf and says, okay, I'm good. He's out for one play and he comes back. But this week it looks like...
Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago he played basically on one leg. He had one leg removed for 3 weeks. So
yeah, so it's a reoccurring high ankle sprain. It looks like Carson Wentz is going to come in. I don't know. I really don't know what to think. I'm just kind of looking at everything. I'm looking at both pitchers. I'm looking at last week. I'm looking at the coming week. I think the Texans really need to lock up a better position, even though they're playoff bound. Thanks to the Colts losing.
They want a higher seed, though, right?
They do want a higher seed, and there's a lot of potential there in this playoff picture. I mean, we're 3 weeks of the regular season left. Some teams will probably get eliminated this week, some the next week, but it always comes down to that last week. There's so much on the line that last week, and there's teams fighting for their playoffs, and there's just like if the moon is full and the Browns beat whoever they're playing, then and Kirk Cousins doesn't throw an interception, then
Well, it's really weird because the league claims they want parity, but it's the same 4 teams in the finals every year. So
yeah,
what the fuck, man? Quit lying to me. Quit gaslighting me. Tell me what's going on. That's not the NFL script.
Before we get into too much, let's talk about the games that mattered in Week 15.
Okay. I don't have that in front of me. I probably should pull it up. You have it in front of
All
you?
right.
Go ahead and you can
Yes.
drive
So
the car for a while.
we'll start off with the Thursday night game. Huge divisional playoff implication game. We have the Rams going into San Francisco. We talked about it last week. We couldn't believe that the Rams beat the Bills. Touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It was just a shootout. Back to the same old Rams this week. Rams beat the Niners 12-6, and there wasn't a single touchdown in that game. It was probably the most boring game of the week that I watched.
Right, but like you said, the week before the Rams were playing circus ball with the Bills. So it depends on which Rams team is going to show up, I guess.
Right. So the next game that we are looking at for Sunday they're technically not eliminated, but you and I always say they're eliminated even if they make it to the playoffs. The Cowboys walk into Carolina, who had already been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, put up a 30-burger on them.
Yeah, the Cowboys looked pretty good in that game. I didn't see anything that really... Carolina tried. I don't want to say they quit, but they just didn't have enough to take care of the Cowboys.
Cowboys are a 6-8 team. I mean, their hopes are still out there, I guess, but let's be honest.
It's like a 0.01 chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see them making the playoffs. Next game we had on our agenda was the Chiefs went into Cleveland, faced the Browns. The Browns looked like absolute trash.
They pulled Jameis
pick after pick.
Yeah, they pulled him through the third quarter, I think it was. They pulled him, and it was just he was not coming back from that at all, right?
And the Chiefs end up winning their first non-one-score game of the season, 21-7, and as we said, Patty got hurt. So we'll see what happens in the weeks to come with Kansas City maybe pull them off the bench if they really want to lock up that one seed. But I think they run Carson Wentz, and Buffalo chases that one seed behind them.
Another game that happened on Sunday that was really, the first half wasn't, I was kind of frustrated with, but the second half, man, that Buffalo Bills Detroit Lion game, holy cow.
It looked like Buffalo was going to blow them out. And, big balls Dan Campbell decides to go for an onside kick with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Yeah, Buffalo almost turns it into points. They definitely turn it into points on the drive that followed. But somehow they came back.
They did. It
looked really close.
And unfortunately, the Lions lost David Montgomery for the season. That's going to hurt them a lot. I think you're going to miss
he's got MCL or ACL or something like that. So he's
MCL surgery. Yeah, I think they're going to miss him more than they realize because he was their short yardage back. When they needed 2 or 3 yards, he went out and got it.
Yeah, Knuckles is out for the season, unfortunately. And let's talk about the Lions. We've been talking about them week after week. I think we're both kind of Lions fans, so to speak, after watching them lose for like 40 years.
Yeah.
To see like a resurgence in the last 2.5 years and actually put together a good program and they seem to have all the pieces and they take injury after injury and that whole next man up mentality and that grit mentality that they have seem to be working. And now they have like 19 starters out.
Yeah, it's insane. They're going to get some of them back for the playoffs. Like a lot of their defensive players are getting back, but they made him get Hutchinson back. There's a chance that's going to happen. But the state they're in right now.
Yeah, their Super Bowl chances are looking pretty bleak for a 12-2 team. Like amazing. Like they've put a really good program together in Detroit and. They look like the team that couldn't be beat, and these injuries have just absolutely decimated that team.
It really has. They've really taken a lot of injuries. Another one that I saw Sunday that I was watching 2 screens at once, the Pittsburgh Steelers Philadelphia Eagle game. That one I thought was going to be better than it was.
Yeah, Eagles handled that one really well. Eagles look like possibly the NFC team to beat right now.
Right.
The way they played. Steelers came out really flat.
Yeah, it looked like they just weren't cranked up for the game. Yeah.
They didn't look good at all. They came out slow. They started putting some things together, and then, the Eagles just stomped on the gas. And, I mean, even Saquon had, I think, like 60 yards. Like, he didn't have a massive game or anything. So Saquon wasn't the difference maker in this game. Eagles passing touchdowns. Apparently, Jalen Hurts can pass the ball again. So it's not just a running game with them. They have a lot of different weapons on that team. A.J. Brown's looking really good. Eagles look like they are probably the NFC team to beat right now.
And that brings us to Sunday Night Football, the Packers, Seattle. I thought that was going to be a lot closer game than it was. It just the Packers are just they're making their case for the playoff push.
The Packers look really good. Seattle came out just looking, again, another team that looked flat.
At home. You don't usually see them at home look like that. They're one of those teams that at home they crank it up, and they didn't for whatever reason.
Other teams with playoffs on the line, backing up till Sunday afternoon, Buccaneers go in and lay a 40 burger on the Chargers. Both teams, in the playoff race. Chargers looked like they could possibly be one team that is going to not go down without a fight, and the Bucs made them look like garbage.
Well, that's just Baker trying to take care of his boy Evans. He wants his boy Evans to be up there with Jerry Rice and the consecutive 1,000-yard seasons being at number 11.
Baker is the quarterback right now, in my opinion. Like, he's just, that guy goes out and fights every week, and you know what? Sprinkles are on us, buddy.
He's tenacious. He's tenacious, man. He really is. He just does not go down quietly ever.
The other teams that were trying to stay in the fight, Ravens went into New York. The Giants, we all knew what was going to happen there. They were like a 17-point favorite. They come out 35-14. Bengals trying to keep their playoff hopes alive against a Titans team that's been mathematically eliminated. They put up 37 points on the Titans, and that actually was a pretty interesting game at some point until the Bengals kind of broke away with it.
And Colts-Broncos, that was a pretty good game for the Broncos.
Yeah, so
fans.
both those teams are fighting for playoff position. Broncos look really good, though.
They do. Their defense is just stifling. And Bo Nix is doing what he needs to be done. He's not doing anything fancy, not doing anything flashy.
That defense, though, that trick play that the Colts tried to throw up and got picked for an interception. Oh my God!
And of course, the one other news piece we should probably talk about real quick. I think Kirk Cousins' starting career could be coming to an end.
So you mentioned that last week, and I didn't disagree. And I thought, you know what? We'll see what Kirk O'Chains does this week if he can start throwing some touchdowns and kind of keep the interceptions at a minimum. And he threw for one touchdown.
And one interception, but in the Monday morning press conference, his coach basically said, this is on Kirk. He needs to pick it up. And when your coach, don't ask for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for thee. When the coach says that, and you have a first-round draft pick sitting there waiting, it's not good.
Part of this is on the Falcons defense as well. Like last night we look at the Raiders, and this game was not interesting. Falcons at Raiders, not an interesting game at all. Raiders are eliminated. Falcons are still fighting to try to get that number 1 seed with the Bucs. They're trading punches right now. They do have the tiebreaker against the Bucs if they did have a tie record, because Falcons beat the Bucs twice. So, Raiders come back at the end of the game. I don't know what drove the Raiders to say, hey, let's fight for this. They almost tied the game with zeros on the clock. And that's on the Falcons D. That's not on Kirk Cousins.
That's fair. That's a fair statement, yeah.
Right? Like, you can't just be like, 15-9 is good enough for us, and we're just going to, sit back and relax. Now, I understand it's the fourth quarter. Defenses are tired in the fourth quarter. But you have to dig deep. If you want to be a winning football program, you need to dig deep and make sure that those stops get made. You can't be saying, oh, I give 3 quarters of football and I give up in the fourth.
No, and that actually is what separates playoff winners from playoff losers, is that fourth quarter performance. So,
and you have to understand, college season's over, and a lot of these young guys are tired because they're used to playing the college program.
Right. They're used to the 12 or 13 game schedule, not the 17, right?
Right. So they're like, this is their welcome to the NFL moment. They're like, hey, like, dig deep, guys. We still got at least 3 more games, and then we go into the playoffs.
Nope, that's entirely accurate. I couldn't argue that a bit. Do you want to talk to him now? You want to wait till after we talk about everything else? Because he gets anxious.
Is he here?
He's.
It's not that cold out. You could leave him outside.
Here he comes, sauntering in, wearing his. Are those hot pink high tops? I guess they are. It's Coach Blackwell. Hey, Coach, how are you today, sir?
Hi, Terry. Hi, Adam. They're actually power pink. We were doing some stuff over in France over on the week. Just getting ready for, some big shows coming up. But power pink, it's the new color this year.
Dude, I have 2 pair of pink high tops myself. I'm not knocking it.
Let's get into the fashion. Oh, my God. What is with the white this year? Everybody wants to wear white, and it's after Labor Day, and I don't get it.
And on Minnesota last night, I didn't like that. What do they call it? The Winter Warrior look. I didn't like it a bit.
The Winter Warrior white, and I kind of liked it. I liked the silver stripe down the helmet. I liked the purple silhouette around the horn. I kind of dug the look. The big shock for me, the thing that made it so fashionable and so trendy, is that the entire audience, the entire crowd was wearing white as well. I mean, we didn't see any purple in the crowd at all.
Unless they were wearing a Randy Moss jersey, right?
And God bless that Justin Jefferson for giving a shout out to Randy Moss on his touchdown. But let's talk about some other teams. So everybody wants to be wearing the white this week. Buffalo did it. Arizona did it. Carolina did it. Atlanta did it. Cincinnati even did it. And Indianapolis, of course, I think that's their standard away uniform. They went complete white out. Let's talk about some teams that didn't go white.
You left one white team off, though. You left one white team out of there. The Green Bay Packers were all white as well.
There's actually 2 white teams, but they went complete white out, including helmets. The Packers for one, and the Cleveland Browns. They were the Cleveland Whites this week.
It's actually that white Browns uniform. I like it. I like it a lot.
It looks kind of fun.
Yeah, I know the bright orange
I've messed around with it a little bit.
Yeah, the bright orange number with the brown outline. I like that a lot. That's a good look to me.
Now, there was 2 teams that stood out for me this week that didn't wear white. They wore alternate uniforms. The Seattle Seahawks came out in action green. Now, I don't know why they call it action green. I would call it sunglasses green because I almost went blind looking at the screen.
I think they call it action green because you're going to get vomit, and that's an action. Your body takes action when it sees that color. It vomits. So
I guess having a stroke or a seizure is an action too.
Right.
So
right.
You could definitely do that watching that screen all night because that was bright.
It was brutal is what it was. And who's the other one?
The only other team I want to give a big shout out to this week, we saw it once this year. The Detroit Lions came out in their blackout uniforms with the blue helmet with the black logo, and they even went a step further this time, Terry. They put a black logo in center field.
Yeah, that's a really good look, that black uniform they throw on.
It was so hot. All of these guys look great this week, and I mean, I touched their tight ends.
Yeah, sure. Touch tight end, touch wood, whatever you got to touch, you touch it, Coach. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. I don't think we're going to have many more episodes where fashion's going to be an issue.
Well, I mean, I still have a couple more weeks with you boys, and then I'm off to Europe because, I know you guys are going to be deep in the playoffs and stuff like that, and you're going to be talking about all the X's and O's and those sort of things. But I've got so many fashion shows and so many tasty-looking models that I have to get ready for the European tour.
All right, well, you go have fun, Coach. We'll talk to you later, sir. And he saunters out the door. So that brings us to our playoff picture. We already talked about the Chiefs and Houston. Thank you for getting me back on track. I kind of jumped the gun there. The next one up would be Saturday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern or 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 my time. The Steelers at the Ravens. Both these teams need to beat the other one. If Pittsburgh wins, they clinch the AFC North.
Oh, yes. So this is an interesting game. This week, I'm so shocked this week that we have Saturday football back. I'm excited. We're getting into our kind of holiday schedule, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know how this game goes down.
I don't either. If the Pittsburgh Steelers show up like they did last week, Baltimore's going to kill them.
After the way the Steelers played against Philly and the way the Ravens play, I mean, the Ravens played, hot garbage, so that was a pretty easy game to call.
Mm-hmm.
You're going into Baltimore. If Lamar shows up and he doesn't have the yips like he did against Kansas City last year in the championship game, or the divisional round, I guess it was, I think the Ravens can take this.
I'm going to stick with the Steelers just because Mike Tomlinson knows how to get his guys. I mean, we win this and we're in it. Mike Tomlinson is going to have him cranked up for that. So I think I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on that one.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't have to call it. It's it's not considered a primetime game. It's just Saturday football. We do have to call the Thursday night game though.
That's Denver Broncos going in to play the Chargers. If the Broncos win, they clinch a playoff berth.
Yes.
For the Chargers to clinch a playoff berth, they need to not only win the game, and they need the Dolphins to lose and the Colts to lose.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other, we're going to turn this into a drinking game. Playoff implications. Every time playoff implications is said, take a shot. You'll be drunk by definitely next episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because you're going to hear it, because we're at that time of year where teams are going to be winning or losing. But on that one, I think I'm going to go with the Broncos on that. They're just playing too good right now.
Yeah, Broncos are looking pretty good, but I'm going to have to flip the script. Chargers at home, everything's on the line. They need to stay alive. I'll take the Chargers.
And Harbaugh's a great coach, man. Harbaugh's a great coach.
I'm looking forward to this game, regardless of who wins and who loses. I think this is a divisional game. This is going to be a very competitive game.
And let's move over to the NFC picture. Playoff implications. Philadelphia Eagles at Washington Commanders Sunday at 1 Eastern, noon Central. The Eagles just need to win and they're in. So...
Yeah, and the Commanders, they just got by on the skin of their dinks on that last game, just because somebody decided to call 2 points instead of going to taking the kick and going for overtime, right?
Right. So I think Philadelphia is playing really good ball right now, and I don't think the Commanders have much of a shot here.
Yeah, I think Philly takes this. Philly looks really good. Throwing the ball, running the ball. Their defense is lights out. They've got the brotherly shove in their back pocket. I think they could brotherly shove for 5 yards by the way that those offensive linemen are pushing.
Oh, absolutely. So we're kind of in agreement on that one. That brings us up to, according to the list in front of me, Green Bay Packers on Monday night against the Saints. I don't see the Saints having much of a chance. And the Green Bay wins and they get a playoff shot. So,
I mean, I've got to take Green Bay here. There's just no way you beat Green Bay, especially with on their third string quarterback. They're going between that Haney guy and Spencer Rattler back and forth. They don't know who their quarterback is. They have no identity. They have no shot at a playoff spot. They're eliminated. Their only job is to play spoiler. But why would you play spoiler against the Green Bay Packers? They're not in your division. You barely see them.
And the Packers they're playing lights out football right now.
We do have one primetime game that we didn't call. We've got Bucks going into Dallas, Cowboys.
I gotta go with my guy Baker, man.
Yeah, I mean I'm in Bakerland too. So just to recap our primetime games, you're taking Broncos, I'm taking Chargers. We're both taking Bucks against the Cowboys, and we're both taking Packers against the Saints. And like, I don't see the Saints winning in Lambeau Field either. So,
No,
a dome
no.
team going to Lambeau.
Yeah, in December, it's going to be pretty cold out. And the Packers can still get a playoff berth if the Falcons lose and the Rams lose.
Yeah, so there's that too. I mean, Rams are going up against the Jets. I mean, we don't really care about that game. They're going into New York. The Rams have not done anything to impress me. The fact that they beat Buffalo is just
It's an outlier.
wild.
It's an outlier, man. There's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just one of those things.
But anything can happen. And I mean, the Rams could go out and just put up some points against the Jets. I don't know.
So Washington, if Washington beats the Eagles and the Falcons lose and the Rams lose, Washington clinches a playoff game.
Jeez, there's so much going on. I'm going to be like so glued to my seat all week. I'm going to be Adam on the couch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because man, like we got a Thursday nighter, which looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We got 2 Saturday games, which, I mean, great games for Saturday, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like, they picked some good ones. Like, there's no snoozers here. Sunday gets a little long in the tooth. I mean, we got Giants, Falcons, Cardinals, Panthers, the Lions go into the Bears. I mean, I think we both know what's going to happen there. Titans, Colts, yuck. Rams, Jets, kind of yuck, but Rams playoff hopes in the line. Eagles, Commanders is probably the first game in this window that looks exciting. Bengals and Browns, not exciting. Vikings and Seahawks, I mean, if the Seahawks come out and play like they did on, Sunday night, then...
we haven't really picked it out loud, but that Bears-Lions game is a primetime game, so...
Well, it's not. It's Sunday at 1:00 or
I thought it was a Sunday night game. I'm sorry.
Lions at Bears at 1:00. So yeah, I'm just looking over the schedule. We got Patriots got flexed out of their 1:00 game with the Bills. It's now 4:25. I don't know why you'd put a 3-11 Patriots team against an 11-3 Bills team that late in the day. I mean, we all know what's going to happen. The Patriots can't do shit.
No.
Josh Allen is legitimately could be the MVP of the league this year.
The way he's playing, I mean, sure, you get engaged to Haley Steinfeld and you start playing, way outstanding football. I guess maybe that's
he's put up the same numbers as he had all season since he got engaged, which is like 4 games ago.
yeah, it's insane.
Jags and Raiders. I mean, if you need a nap at 4:25 and that's the only game you get, that's the time to get it. Frisco goes into Miami. I mean, Miami, I guess, is still in the playoff hunt if everything works out their way for the next 3 weeks and they win out. But yeah, like there's not a lot of great, exciting games. And it comes down to a lot of divisional games at this time of year because they like to put the drama at the end, right?
Right. And I mean, Minnesota is playing Seattle. That has some implications if Minnesota loses, but I don't see that happening. So,
well, and it has implications for Seattle too because they got bumped out of their playoffs slot on Sunday night.
Yeah. So maybe they'll come out and play hard in Minnesota. Who knows? All right. Did we cover everything?
I think we're pretty well covered. Just looking at anything that we may have missed quickly before we run away on you. By the way, this is our 34th episode of 2024. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. Daisy, yeah, she's beside herself.
She's shocked. She's so shocked she fell asleep. Yeah, 34 episodes. Next week, we will be going into full holiday mode, so make sure you check out our Christmas special. It's Christmas Eve.
Christmas special, a.k.a. regular show.
Yeah. I was trying to, work it up. for the folks, like listening. They're just like, oh my God, a Christmas Eve special. What could I possibly do on Christmas Eve? Thank God, Straight Off the Couch has an episode to save me from all the monotony of Christmas Eve.
I was talking to the wife, honey, midnight mass or Straight Off the Couch. I can only do one. Which one do you want?
So there you go. Where you're out.
All right. Do we have any housekeeping to take care of while we're here?
No housekeeping. Next week's show you'll see actually a little bit earlier than usual because it's Christmas Eve. We have lives too, so we're going to make sure that we still do the show because that's our commitment to us, to each other, and to you. So we will make sure that that show is available. You probably won't listen to maybe Christmas when you're, sick of
after you open up all the presents
or whatever.
Right. Where can they find you at, Adam?
They can find me at Adam Off the Couch on the gram or the X. You can also find us at Straight Off the Couch on Facebook. Terry puts out some fun videos pretty much when football's on. We can't go live yet, so we'd appreciate a little bit of help. And like our Facebook page, Straight Off the Couch on Facebook, facebook.com/Straight Off the Couch. How about you, Terry?
You can find me on the X at TREMUP. That's at TREMUP. On the gram, tear 'em up, Terry, and that'll do it for me. For my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent, he puts the I in Canada, Adam Whitehall. Everybody have a great week. Enjoy the football. Be safe. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yes, we Canada.